Well, they've broken the agreement with Save Kennedy Point and Putiki Protectors about not doing any construction until a proper penguin plan has been put in place. Well, as you can see, what's going on down here, it is fucking construction, and they are not allowed to do it.
Everyone who is here is peaceful. We have come to extend our aroha for the moana, for our paiao, and for our environment. We're not leaving, we will resist you, and we will stand up for what is right. And that is the protection of our taonga species protected under the Wildlife Act, the little blue penguins, and all other interconnected life force within this bay that rely on each other for survival. As Māori, we whakapapa to the moana. We whakapapa to nature, we whakapapa to te Aotearoa. Because we have a whakapapa connection that is tapu. Through that tapu, we have an inherent responsibility to take care of our environment. And that's what we're here doing today. The tactics of Kennedy Point Boat Harbour Limited and Heron Construction haven't stopped since the time they arrived into our community in March. And then they pushed their way into our bay. Now they're trying to push themselves right up against the kainga of the korora, which is this breakwater. As you can see, the lengths that they are willing to take to do this puts our people's lives at risk. Shame on you, Kennedy Point Boat Harbour Limited staff member, who put a rope directly over our protector's neck and pulled it tight in an attempt to move into the space of the korora.
Kennedy Point Marina Limited, you are in breach of the native wilderness. We will not allow it.
100 here. They're a protected
You're
endangered
at
at-risk
least get and
species.
go home.
They're less than a metre tall, so if these are pushing up against
You
their
are
homes,
not welcome
it's
here.
inaccessible for their bark
We will not allow you to do this on our land.
You're blocking the entrance to korora. The little blues were native to Aotearoa, New Zealand.
They're less than a metre tall. If you're pushing these boys, these muscle boys, up to their kainga, to their home, you're making the access point to their burrows, where they're going in and out of, inaccessible. You're making their visibility for their fishing, for finding their food, also impossible because they can't see amongst sedimentation when it's stirred up from the bottom of the seabed. This is not what active protection of the species nor their habitat looks like. Every year, Auckland Council commissions Hauraki Golf Forum to get scientific evidence on the state of this moana, the one that we catch the ferry on, the one that we swim in, Enclosure Bay, Palm Beach, Onipangi. We want to protect this bay and all bays on Waiheke from developments like this. That's why we're here. Please sign the petition on Action Station.
Your job is not to intentionally harm life. You know this. You know this, driver of the boat. It's not a game. You are not trained for this. You have better training than this. You have better education than this.
Thanks for watching this presentation. WorkSafe did some research a wee while ago, and this was looking at the attitudes to health and safety of workers and their managers across our 4 key sectors of agriculture, forestry, construction and manufacturing. And one of the findings of that survey was that there was often a mismatch in how well those 2 communities felt health and safety was being managed in their business. So if a manager was asked a question such as, do you ever assign jobs to your workers which involve risk and for which they have not been trained, managers say not very often. If you ask the same question of their workers, they say, oh yeah, that happens quite a bit. These are some of the headline statistics. 1 person every week is dying on average from a work-related accident. Whichever way you look at it, whether it's through the lens of cost to the economy, which is about $3.5 billion a year, or whether you look at it through the lens of the tragedies that all these figures show, then that's a serious problem, and New Zealand can and must do better.
It looks like me being really grumpy and revving my car. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like right now, that's fast. I'm feeling for the guys in the water too. That must have been hard work. We need to sort of just get the union point of view.
Then you like get the rocks just to throw it in.
No, see that stuff see the sludge on the deck?
Yeah. Oh, that's
he was like
the
pretending to clean it off. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
that's out of the seabed, and he was throwing the seabed back at them. So the speed with which they're going is possibly illegal in sea terms to move a vehicle so close to people in the water at that speed. So they're doing little things like that. Never seen anything like this.
What are you doing?
Shame on you! Our lives are in danger. Do something!
So what this new law does is say that leaders in a business who are the senior officers of companies, these are people at the level of chief executive or board directors, they need to exercise this duty of due diligence. If there was a model where some directors and senior officers in companies thought that they could distance themselves from the operations, so long as I hear no evil, see no evil, then I can't be held to account for any failures within the firm, this says, no, you can't do that. You need to be proactive. That's what this duty of due diligence is about. They need to exercise governance over health and safety as they do over other issues connected with their business.
There's children here in the water. You can't keep pushing them.
Oh, they're going now. They're going.
Hey, my daughter's in the water. She's only 13. They have to protect the people in the water. Not today.
Completely covered us in mud. We were just trying to protect the korora from the boys, and we've had a bit of success here as a community today in messing up their plans, and they just lost their cool and grabbed a shovel and was just like grabbing these huge things of clay and shoveling it and just aiming it straight at us, and this is the result. But for them to actually pull that out of the bottom of the seafloor and create all of that sedimentation and desecrate our bay, and then have the audacity to actually shovel that stuff up off the deck of their boat and then throw it back at us, is just like, their mentality is just, it's there's no place for it. There's no place for it on Waiheke. They're not welcome.
If a company, or an organisation of PCBUs we now call them, if they fail in their duty to take reasonably practical precautions, and what they're really saying is, what is not my responsibility and how can I get away with it? And it's the PCBU's fundamental duty to make sure that its work activities protect its workers and protect anybody else who may be affected by its work activity. Not just the people who you directly employ, but those who the work affects, whether they are customers, whether they are visitors, whether they are suppliers, or whether they are your contractors. So think broadly about who your responsibilities relate to as a PCBU. That actually there are implications for businesses, there are implications for workers, there are implications for senior officers. Everybody has a part to play.
If they're losing it over what we're doing now, they're clearly not fit for the role, because the community's already been here for 3 months and no one's going anywhere, so they need to be able to keep their cool and, not throw their toys out.
That's a nice noise. We've got 2 years of this coming up. 2 years of trying to shout at each other over the noise.
This is about looking after each other. This is about making sure that people return from work in a healthy and safe state. Safety and health is everybody's responsibility. So you can bet your bottom dollar that if you're involved in work, you have a responsibility under this law, so you better understand what it is and start discharging it.